good or something that we are proud of since the last meeting, since we met the last time. Um, I don't know what to share, but I can start. I received a small plan from my colleague, Eli, the last time. And every morning now, I try to water in. And this is something that I'm not used to. It's very new to me. And I think it will give me a sense of loving plants. So, yeah, that is my new and good. Someone else who would like to go next? Hmm.
Yeah, I can go. This is Dave Luckett.
Yay, you made it in, Dave. Thank you.
Yep. You know what? Log back off, log back in usually does it. But you know, one of the things I wanted to share, and this is actually to our church group, but we ended up for the school year we collected backpacks and school supplies, and we what we do is we fill those backpacks with all the essentials, paper, pens, crayons, all that. But anyway, based on a pre-described list, we collected over 180 backpacks and distributed them to various communities that represent our congregation. So we were very happy. That was one of the largest amounts of backpacks that we had assembled. And so I'm pretty fired up about that. Other thing, just on a personal level, my contract got re-upped for next year, so that's always good. So I can keep the money coming in, keep the lights on. But other than that, you know, just good to be safe, and it's good to be with you all to discuss strategies. But that's what I had to share.
Thank you so much, Dave. Anyone else? Yes, Andrea.
Hi, I'm Andrea Kempner-Wink with Community Reach of Montgomery County. We're a safety net organization that partners with MANA in making sure that our clients are fed, along with housed and have healthcare and lots of other things. One thing that's new and good for my organization, although we do it every year, is that we partner with McHale and a bunch of other organizations in Welcoming Week. So we enjoy that. And for me personally, I took a mediation course this summer. So I feel like I've learned some things, although I need lots and lots of work before I'm ready to actually mediate for anybody real and live.
Yes. Thank you for sharing, Andrea. Anyone else?
I am Mike. I'm from Interfaith Works. I run the food hub here. We're one of the 8 food hubs opened by the county. Since December, we've distributed over 650,000 pounds of food. MANA has been thankfully able to get us a lot of the dry staple foods. We are in the process. We did receive a large refrigerator for outside. So we've been able to distribute milk and eggs recently. The neighbors have been a little bit angry about the sound that the motor and generator has been adding, so we're working on that, but hopefully we'll get that back up and running soon.
Thank you, Mark, for what we are doing for the community. Anyone else, please?
Hi, this is Angie. I'm the Senior Director of Participant Support for MANA. It's good to see Mike in person, sort of, because I've been on MANA's end of getting that food out to you guys. But I just wanted to share that our logistics team is in the process of bringing in some new software. It's a food inventory program called Fishbowl, and there's a lot of activity in the warehouse behind me today, where they are doing a kind of a mini inventory to get us ready to upload our data into Fishbowl. So there's a lot of a little bit of concern, but a lot of excitement about the new processes that we're putting into place. So it's kind of fun to be a part of that.
Thank you, Angie. Anyone else? Or do we move forward to another item?
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Oh, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
You're hearing you.
Oh, yes. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Renard and Siaga from CoHealth, and this is our first time to be part of this Breaking Bread meeting, and we have been in partnership with MANA for about a year now, or more than a year now. And what is new, we are currently working on seeing if we can organize like a community event, health fair, maybe at the beginning of next year. Hopefully, we'll have more or less restriction, and we'll be able to do something for the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Renata. Anyone else would like to share?
This isn't a new and good, but maybe it is, because newly I've gotten YouTube live to work because I was having some problems earlier. So we are streaming live to YouTube, just in case you didn't see that message or thought that it was a mistake. It was definitely intentional.
Thank you, Jenna. So, someone else would like to share? Anyone good here? Okay, we move on to our next point on the agenda. We'll share a short video now on welcoming. Belonging begins with us.
And I think, Jenna, you're in charge of that. And so let us take this opportunity to thank Jenna for all her help with the technology. And one thing I neglected to say was that as part of the experience of Breaking Bread, we're hoping that you at home or work, wherever you are eating your lunch, because we planned this during the lunch hour, and we are going to have lunch with our guests. So I know there's been some camera issues. As you see moving around, we're not leaving. We're just getting our lunch. And we will watch the video while we're eating. So go for it, Jenna.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
And can you see the video, more importantly, not just my outlook or something?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to try this then.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. If we could find a way to get inside each other's mind. If you could see you through my eyes instead of your ego, I believe you'd be surprised to see that you've been.
What happened, Jenna?
I don't know.
Before you abuse, criticize, and accuse, walk a mile in my shoes.
I'm just going to back up a little bit.
Yeah, before you abuse, criticize, and accuse, walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Yeah, before you abuse, criticize, and accuse, walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize, and accuse, walk a mile in my shoes.
Sorry, I just don't want you to hold it longer than you need to.
Thank you, Jenna, for sharing that short video. With that in mind, I would say that we should break out the rooms so that we discuss on how we would like to see our environment. But before that, I would like to introduce our so professional Catherine Eaton. She'll have the time to introduce herself and also to tell you what you will be doing in the breakout rooms. And when you will be back, she will also moderate the discussion. Thank you. Over to you, Catherine.
Hi, everybody. How's it going? I am typing a question into the chat, so give me just a quick if I thought ahead of time, I would have typed it out and then I could just cut and paste, but wasn't thinking that far ahead, so I apologize. I am a licensed clinical professional counselor with a private practice in Gaithersburg, Maryland. I've been in Montgomery County for years and a fan of MANA for years. I'm also a clinical supervisor for the Tri-County Youth Services Bureau as the school-based counseling program. And I'm also executive director for the Maryland Counseling Association. So I wear a lot of hats, but I'm delighted that that Agard had invited me today to kind of help moderate this discussion. I'm almost done typing, and please forgive any typos, as I do have dyslexia, and this is a challenge today. Almost done. Okay, so after, what we're going to do is we're going to go into breakout sessions, and I would ask that in each breakout room, you choose a leader who will kind of take notes of the discussion, and then when the breakout is finished, we'll come back, and then that leader can share the discussion, and then that can be for larger discussion overall. But after watching that quick little video, and we might have to look it up again, that, what does a welcoming space mean? And then how can you contribute to creating, promoting, and/or improving a welcoming space at the organizational level, the community level, and at an individual level? And so if you just take a moment or two to think about that while Jenna puts us in the breakout rooms, and then we will come back after about 15 minutes.
Sorry, it's going to take me a minute to make sure that the Microsoft Teams room doesn't end up in anyone else's room.
Jenna, hopefully it doesn't distract you, but I'm just going to let you know that those of us in the room now can see everybody and everything. We figured that out. And so I just want to give a shout out to other people who haven't yet had a chance to introduce themselves. We've got Yelba in the room. We've got, it looks like Satinga. Am I saying that right? Yes. Hello. From Saku? From Saku. Oh, look, your logo is good. I knew who you were just from your logo.
Thanks. Yes, you said it right.
Great. Thank you for being with us. Let's see. I think. Oh, I'm sorry.
Lisa from Saku. I think I saw her.
You saw Lisa? Okay. I didn't see Lisa, but hope she's with us. Cynthia's with us.
I'm here. Hi, everybody.
Oh, Lisa, you are there. Thank you. Great to see you. And then Jaborji is with us, and I think Priya. So we've got a great set of folks. We in the meeting room, and Jenna, just send me to a breakout whenever you need me. We are enjoying some food that was provided to us by our colleague Brazali, who's not able to join us, but we really appreciate her hospitality and offering good food. So don't forget to eat your lunches as part of your experience in the breakout rooms. Right, Jenna? You're on mute though. Oh.
Sorry.
Do you want us to, we're being invited to room 4. Say, you want me to say not now?
Can you?
Sure. We've mastered the technology. The list of people is going down. I bet that means they're going into breakout rooms. Jaborji and Kathy are not in breakout rooms.
Kathy, did you want to go in a breakout room?
I want to, but I haven't seen any thing to click on.
You should have, Jabordi. Oh, I see you in room 1, or I put you in room 1.
Okay, that's
did
good.
you see it? But did you see an option to select yes to that?
Okay, that's okay. Wherever you put me, I'll be there.
Well, that's where I did put you, and you're not there, so I don't know why.
Oh, okay.
You should have received.
Would you like her just to be in our room here in the?
Okay,
sure.
That's fine. I can stay put.
Okay. So, Jen, I hope it doesn't distract you of that. We're going to start with the questions now. And Jaborji, if you could put your camera on, that would be great.
Okay.
And the way they can't thank you, great to see you.
Nice to see you too.
So the way the camera is supposed to work is that when it hears a voice, it moves. So let's hope and see if that works. But if not, is there somebody who would like to moderate the breakout room? Or would you like me or Agar to do it? I can do it. Can you do it, Mother? Well, basically, Kathy was asking for somebody to report out from our discussion. So if you can report out, that would be great. Good job. Thanks, Agar, for good job recruiting. So the questions were, what does a welcoming space mean? That's our first question. What do you guys think a welcoming space means?
Welcoming space, a place where there is no judgment. There is no in judgment, I'll say I'll break it down to equality. No judgment in race, sexuality, all the age and all the things that go with it. And I'll say that in addition to that, will be no discrimination. And that to me would be the start of a welcoming space where one could go and be comfortable and be accepted as to who the person is or where he's coming from, not judging by color or anything.
Thank you for starting us off with that. So no judgment. What about you, Agar? What do you think makes a welcoming space?
For me, a welcoming space is a place where we have diversity. So, yeah, it's like what you said, no discrimination. We have diverse people who are coming. We don't discriminate about the color, the age, the gender, and everything. And also a welcoming space for me, if I'm looking at the community level, I will say that it's a place where we have a lot of resources available for everyone without discrimination. And also, I'm thinking about the concept of humanity. in a welcoming space. We don't have to highlight only the relation between people and those who are using the service, but we also need to think about yes, the kind of it's the person who is in front of us. That person may have any kind of problem, but we don't have to judge the person based on those problems, but we have to see people and fit into their shoes in the way that we have empathy for what they are facing. For example, if someone is going through, let's say, it's homeless, or that person is going through a kind of trauma, we don't have to judge the person. We need to feel that person's concern in terms of how do we would like to people to see us or to welcome us if we were in that position. Yeah, because basically when we see people, we just judge them based on the appearance, and we save them sometimes just because, oh, that person is in need, just give him this small thing is and everything will be okay. So we have to think about all those kind of things when we are facing someone. And I'm seeing a welcoming space like that space where there is no discrimination, as the body said, where we consider we value people, and we also take into account everyone's concern and respect each other. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, if I can tell you guys my personal story, I hope it's very short. I went somewhere for service, and normally when even I go to the hospital, they can't say my name. And I went for a service somewhere. And when the lady was looking at the name, normally what I do is I watch their mannerism. And when they take the paper and they look at it more than 30 seconds, I know it's me that they want to call. So I moved towards the lady and I said, can I please look at the paper? You're looking for me. And the first thing that came out of her mouth was that, what is this? She pointed at my name. What is this? And I said, that's my name. And she said, have you thought of changing your name? And I asked her, for who and for what? Is it you or for somebody else? And said, oh, you just need to change your name so that it will be easy to pronounce. And I said, to what? You know, that in the first place is not a welcoming environment. Must be conscious of the different types of names we have in our system. And in a place like Manafu, where we're going to have people come in with names, and so many times they don't have a face because they're calling and they're, wanting to know if they could get food or they could do that. That is also a point that must be bear in mind, that if you don't know how to pronounce the name, find out. Get somebody to help you so you don't make that mistake of saying somebody's name wrongly and it will be taken in a negative way. So that could also be a factor, though it might be very small, but it's significant. So that's my addition.
Yeah. I can also add that for me, a welcoming community is a community where we don't just give people what we have, but we need to hear from people what they need and help them based on those needs. Yeah, because sometimes we have this, we have that, but if I take it, can I use it? Maybe it's not something that I need. Just because it's available, you give me. But if you ask me about what I need, I will say, okay, I need vegetable. And at that time, when you give me vegetable, I'm happy to eat it because it's what I need. So uh, I'm thinking about the concept of participation, not only one way service. We need to involve people, and that's why we are very happy to see Milagro here, because it's a kind of, we are not just give them what we have. We also hear from her, who is working with the community, what are people concerned, and when she reflect that, we use that kind of feedback into the the service that we are giving, we are providing, and we improve our service with those kind of information, and be sure that at the end people are happy of what we are doing, because we are taking into account what we hear from them. So I'm seeing that kind of two-way participation as a welcoming space, because if I arrive in the community like this as an immigrant, and you just give me things without asking me questions, I will take them, but I will not be very, very happy, because maybe I have another concern, which is not what you are offering me. So yeah, that was another point that I wanted to add.
Yeah, thank you, Agar, for adding that dimension of reciprocation or giving and taking in different ways and listening. I also just wanted to acknowledge that you told that story to Borji. I'm sorry that that happened to you, and yet I appreciate your bravery for talking about it and giving a great example of what is expected of us, and that is about respect. And I know that, Agar, when you were speaking about lack of judgment, Milagro, I think you used the word kindness. Could you say more about what does it mean to you for kindness to be a part of welcoming?
Yes, in my personal experience, when the people are in front to help, the other one, sometimes they are so strong with the other, and they don't want to come and ask to any help to anybody because they are so scared. I have more than 12 years working with the community. I have separate to identity one map group, and my experience is that one. Sometimes the people are so rude when they are in the front desk. That's why the community, they don't want to come. I think so one is the most important thing in one welcome room. It's the people in front. She need or he need to be so kind and respect with each other.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you. That's an unfortunate example, and it actually gets us to our next question. But before we go there, I just want to make sure. Did you guys want to add anything about what you consider to be welcoming?
Yeah, for me, it is definitely a place where I see like smiling faces, and a place where I feel like I can be my genuine self. When I feel like I have to hide something, that's when I kind of know that I am not feeling welcomed. In addition, when you're talking about like the front desk, like the people that you see first, I do want to say, like, when I remember very specifically when I did go to the Manna warehouse, like, I don't know his name, but whoever works at the front desk, he was just like so nice when Brady and I walked in, and like, I immediately, like, not that I came in with like an open mind, but I immediately was like, oh, like this, like, is a welcoming space. Like, that's what I thought. So, yeah.
The other thing is when the parent has kids, in some place, they don't like it when the kids are so noisy or something like that. But usually in the Latino community, they don't have a babysitter or something like that, and they need to have the kids with them all the time. That's the other thing.
Yeah, that's before I let you go, Brandy, I'll say that's one of the things I'm so excited about this space here in Silver Spring. Our marketplace has a training room, so like our our partners can use for training. It definitely has these offices, but it has the marketplace. That's the best part, where people get to choose their food. And we intentionally designed the lobby to have a corner for kids so that they can read books or they can color while their parents are shopping. And yeah, and so, but I think that is an example of how we listened, because, and we have also observed, because when kids stand in line, they look bored, they're nagging, mommy. So it's a win-win. It helps the moms and it also helps the kids. Yes. But I'm sorry, Trini.
You're good. There are a lot of good points given with, definitely with accommodating, with kindness, like you can be your authentic self. And even with that, just again, the reciprocity, with you feel like you can be your authentic self, but also a safe space is not feeling like, not doing it at the expense of others too. So I feel safe when I'm able to be myself without judgment from others, and also being able to allow that same kindness to others and letting them have their voices heard, making them feel seen and heard without feeling like they're an outsider or othered, almost like they're like, without pointing out differences that may be obvious on the surface but may not be so obvious once you take the time to sit down with somebody and have that conversation, get to know somebody.
So kind of a personalization, like a welcoming spaces where you feel acknowledged as a person, different individual. Right. Thank you. I don't know, how much time left do we have, Agar?
We still have time, so maybe 10 minutes again.
Okay, so then based on what we've heard about being able to be your authentic self, get to know people on an individual level, be kind and respectful, what can we say about things that we can do to improve welcome at our organizations, our community, or even as individuals? And not to put you guys on the spot, but you've observed a lot. I'm glad your first experience at the warehouse, it was either Paul or Garth. We have two guys who are on the
Paul.
Probably Paul. Okay.
That sounds more familiar.
So luckily, Paul was not like Georgie had experienced somebody saying, why is your name like this? Or who are you? Or Milagro was saying that it wasn't rude. But there are things that we can do to improve. Have you guys seen anything about welcoming that you would recommend to us? And then I'm gonna put you on the spot, Milagro, because you're a partner and you've seen us as a partner. Yeah. So, but first the interns.
I'm trying to think of something of like improving, but I mean, you guys really hit the nail on the head with it, with the whole having the first person you see is open and welcoming, having your staff and volunteers be open and welcoming to the point where, you have volunteers as the Tuesday crew, you have regulars who are able to help out in such a big way because they feel welcome, they feel accepted here, and they feel like they're doing some real genuine good with their time that they're not being compensated for. And then even in the marketplace, it's just, the music is, is good, having that playing, so it's not just silence. People going through, volunteers are helping them walk through and explaining things, and all the way to the weighing station, with this conversation happening, and it's a really good vibe.
Yeah, honestly, I have to second that. Like, that's some of the things that Brandy and I have talked about too. Like, everyone here is so welcoming, and so I'm originally from the Midwest. I've lived in Wisconsin, Minnesota my whole life, and everyone there, you walk on the street and everyone's saying hi to you, like all these things. And I've noticed when I moved to the East Coast, like I like smile and say hi to people and some people don't reply. Like it's just like, that's just kind of how nature is. But like here, I kind of feel like I'm like closer to home because like everyone, like we're sitting in the huddle room all day, like door could be closed and like people are like waving through the window, like, you know what I mean? Like, but it feels good. Like I'm like, oh, hi, so yeah, it does definitely feel like welcoming space here. And I'm not just saying that, like it genuinely does feel like that.
It's great to hear as well. Yeah.
And do you still have the satellite place in Gaithersburg Middle School?
Yep,
Yes.
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay. I was there some time ago. That's over, almost 2 years. I don't know if things have changed, but it would be nice if enough chairs would be put out for people to sit down. Because my observation at that time was that there was only 4 chairs for 4 people. And there were elderly people that came in and they had to stand in line, and standing, because they open up the place and you stand in line before the food comes in and everything is arranged before it starts distributing. So if there could be enough chairs than the 4, and also that respect to the elderly, they could have chairs for them to sit down and just wait for their turn. That would be a good thing.
Great, thank you. Unfortunately, with right now it's mostly drive-through, but you're right. We hope to be back inside someday, and chairs, especially with the preference to the elderly. That's a really good recommendation. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Milagro, how about you? As a partner, it's a safe space. You can say anything more. Yeah, no suggestions for how we could be more welcoming at Mana?
No, really. I think you are doing a good job, but.
Okay.
I can add something.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. I think, we have, on the one hand, the culture of the organization, meaning that we need to welcome everyone. But at the other hand, we and all our teammates who are dealing with people every day. And I think the good thing to do is to always talk about how we need to welcome people. So talk about it every time, because we know that we want our participant to be welcome. But maybe I'm on the field and someone reach out to me and I will respond like, oh no, please, I don't have time to go through my computer right now and give you the information. It's not a welcome like that. So yeah, we need to talk to people, to everyone who is involved in our work. The drivers, the logistic team, the community engagement manager, the community engagement associate, everyone who is involved. And we have to repeat it every time so that we make sure that if someone does it, that person will feel like, hey, maybe someone is watching me. Yeah, because if we just assume that it's our culture to welcome people, we will not be sure what people are doing on the field. So for me, at the organization level, we need to talking about it every time. So we need to strengthen that kind of message every time, because we are dealing with a lot of people. Sometimes someone can be overwhelmed with work, especially in our distribution site, and one person will come reach out to you, and you respond in a way that person is not feeling as a welcome person, and that person will go away. We don't see those kind of things because we are here and we have our overall culture, but we need to talk about those kind of things every time so that people are aware, specifically those who are in our distribution sites and me, who is in the community every time. Yeah.
If I may, I'll tell a little bit of a story about the possibility of change, because when I first came to Mana, last week was my Maniversary, 8 years.
Oh, hooray!
Yes, thank you. So there were so many people coming, and our logistics team that Agar is speaking of, and our satellite staff that Jaborji mentioned, they really wanted to serve people, but they also had in mind service means efficiency. Service means fast. And I think that's like a cultural thing, you know, everything's going fast, fast, fast. You're busy, you got to go, go, go. And we tried to start to talk to them, and sometimes we still have to do it. Your point is really good, Agar. You have to mention this over and over and over, because not only do people change, we have new people or people get promoted, but also people get busy and they forget. And we were saying to the logistics team, it's okay to slow down. The distribution hours, it's 4 hours, 3 to 7 or whatever it was, 2 to 6. Now, it's true, our participants are standing in line and they want to go and they've got childcare and they got jobs and whatever. But that balance of like, you're welcome, we want to take the time to individually look you in the eye and, you know, call you by your name or whatever. So it's something that I've been pleased to see, that we try to slow down and we talk about being not so much interested in transactions, but is in relationships. And that's part of our culture, is not to be too fast or too busy. But Agar, you're right. We have to remind each other of that. Like, hey, slow down. One time I even said at the staff meeting, I'm like, look, you're getting paid. The longer you stay up there, the more you get paid. Now you got to come back at the end. Obviously, you can't be 24/7. Yeah, it's great to see that we have the possibility of changing each other, because we help each other. We remind each other, hey, smile. You know, I'm glad people are waving to you through the window, because, you know, sometimes we have to remind each other.
Yeah,
cheer up.
Level, we need to say that.
Say what?
At the individual level, we need to say that everyone should smile.
Yeah.
Because it's the first contact, and the first contact is very important. Yeah. Yeah. And at the community level, we need to talk to people about what we are doing, and we also need to connect people with the resources that we know. Even if it's not our resources in our organization, we need to share what we know with people in our community.
Yep.
Hey, Kathy, we see you. Does that mean that the breakout rooms are ending?
Oh, no, that just means I'm done with my break and I'm getting ready and I'm looking at the clock saying, ooh, 5 minutes left.
Oh, okay.
I just closed them all, so they will close in 59 seconds or 50 seconds maybe at this point.
Thanks,
All right.
Jenna.
Lagro, are you feeling ready? Just report out. Thank you for being our representative. We're definitely going to make you sit here when it's your turn. Agar will help you. You guys are partners. I'll switch places with you when it's our turn, okay?
That was wonderful.
I don't know the number.
I think we were room 4.
Room 4.
I kind of made that up.
I think it was 4.
You think it was 4?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm bummed to hear this is your last week.
I know. It actually went by really fast.
Yeah, talk about speed.
Yeah.
Oh, welcome back, everyone. We have just a few minutes, so I'd like to ask the leader of each group to share just 1 or 2 highlights, and I don't have a particular order of which group wants to go first, but who would like to start out?
Group 4 can start.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's move.
I was going to say we were room 2, so we would go second. But since nobody else raised their hand, and I hate silence, I thought.
Andrea, well, room 4 had raised their hand, Andrea. So you don't have to worry about silence.
Oh, then let room 4
And you can go
first.
next. You can go next.
Okay. Yeah. So Milagro will go after me. I'm reporting for group 4. So we discussed about what is a welcoming space for us. And we realized that a welcoming space is a place where we have a kind of equality. we have no judgment, no discrimination of age, of gender, of color, of everything. We have that kind of mutual respect. We have also the concept of humanity or empathy. We have diversity, and we also have this kind of giving and taking. So it's not just giving our service to people, it's also listening to people and take into account what they are saying and improve the service that we are providing to people. We also talk about not just those kind of concepts, but the first impression. Do you say impression? Yeah, the first impression, putting a smile on our face. And we also think about it at the individual level. So if everyone in our organization is doing that, it means that we are welcoming people who are reaching out in our organization office, something like that. And we also talk about a combination of kindness, respect, and all those concepts that I mentioned before. And a place where we have people voices. It's not just us who are providing a kind of service, but we also need to hear from people in the community. So they have to say something, and we have to take into account what they're saying with no difference, and get to know people, not just, and Jackie mentioned something very important. She said that we should have a culture not of just welcome people, but focus on the relationship that we have with people, not on the transaction that we are doing. So, because if we are focusing on transaction, that we need to have 100 people who are using our service today, it means that we just give them like this and they go. There is no relationship. We are talking about building a trust relationship with our community. So it means that every time that we are providing a service, we need to make sure that we are building that kind of relationship. And maybe you can continue at the individual level. You want to add something?
No, well, with the time left, I'd like to
Okay.
pass on, because we have a couple other groups, if you don't mind.
Thank you so much, Kathy.
Yeah, and so Andrea, you wanted to go next?
Sure. So our group was Yalba and Cynthia and Ranadin. And we came up with a lot of the same ideas. So we talked about smiling and greeting people, and that's really important as a community. We talked about making sure that that everybody has a voice, so that as organizations, we're not making decisions about how somebody wants to be helped or how they want to be reached out to, but that we listen to their side of it. We talked about so many things. We talked about collaborating rather than being separate. We talked about learning about other people and where we have differences and where we're the same. Ranadin in particular talked about cultural differences and understanding those, and not assuming that if somebody acts a certain way, it's because of whatever your culture thinks that means, but what does it mean from their culture? So I think that those were the big points. Was there, what did I forget that one of you guys wants to remind me we hadn't discussed? All right, I will pass on the torch.
Okay, so we have group 3 and group 1 left. Who wants to go next?
Happy to go next. I was in group 1 with Mike and Lisa and Pam, and I feel like I wasn't very welcoming in the fact that I didn't ask if anybody else wanted to take notes and report out. So I do want to share that opportunity now if anybody wants to jump in, but I did take notes. And if not, you can just fill in if I missed something. But we did have a really good discussion with a lot of topics, and I just identified 2 themes that that seemed to come up in a lot of the discussion. One was that a welcoming space is where I might find my cultural background reflected and feel that it is welcome in that space. And so that might be in terms of finding food that represents who I am, or people speak my language. And it's also about the opportunity to share my culture with others. You know, if I'm new to this country, I can share my culture rather than only learning about the culture of the new space that I'm in. So those were some general themes there. And the other thing was the idea of a buddy. So one example was Interfaith Works, you know, assigning a buddy to a new hire so that they have somebody that they can go to learn to navigate their new workspace. And that also came up as well with people who are new to the country, or at least new to this part of the country. And so we talked about that in terms of an immigrant experience, of, you know, needing food assistance. And it might be a new experience for that person. They might feel judged about needing that sort of help because they haven't been in that position before. And that they're comfortable and they feel welcomed by somebody who understands the situation they're in, helps to reassure them that this is not a unique experience. They're not the only ones going through it. You know, that it's important to think about the people that you put in the position of greeting those folks and helping them to feel ensured that their privacy will remain intact. So those were two general themes that I identified and wanted to share. If anybody else wants to jump in quickly. It's not.
I think you nailed it, Angie. Yeah.
Great.
Thanks, Angie. And I know we're over a little bit on time, but could we hear from our last group, please?
Sure. In our group was Satinga, David, and myself, and we all just thought we'd share a little tidbit each. So I'll just keep it to like one point and pass the mic. But we talked a little bit about the actual interactions and experiences that you have with people, and how that can really help inform your, you know, inform how to have a welcoming space, sometimes more than just knowledge, like looking up information about someone's background, but actually meeting someone of that background and that personal experience. And also just wanted to mention a little bit of, or echo a little bit of what other people have also mentioned of the empathy and seeing people as actual humans and not just somebody that we interact with at work or, you know, see at when you go to XYZ place. Satinga has some really great examples from her organization, so maybe I can pass it to you to share one of the ones you mentioned.
Sure. So we were talking about some interactions, including symbols and language. So the importance, Priya mentioned that there's a language board or a wall with people's different languages, where at least when people come in, they get to see their language represented. And we do the same thing at SACU with flags, and whenever we have our events, sporting events or fashion shows or something, we make sure that everybody's flag is represented. From Southern Africa, we also include the African Union flag to include everybody from Africa, and also the African American flag to include the African American community at our events. And we have noticed that at least once or twice our outreach workers have had people who are not from Southern Africa, who are African American, who need food assistance. And so we feel that at least they feel comfortable to come to us to for a referral. Even at our events, we have a festival in downtown Silver Spring. We try to do interactive things like dances where we show Southern African dances, but we invite the audience to participate in them. And so just things like everybody sharing their culture and having a chance for people to learn American culture and having Americans get a chance to learn Southern African culture. I think that's the gist of it. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add, David?
No, I think that was pretty much it. And I really appreciate what someone said about not focusing on the transaction, which was kind of what I was sharing. That it's got to be a genuine from the heart. I want to learn from you, and hopefully you can learn from me. And it's kind of sometimes on the interpersonal level, individual to individual, where welcoming actually begins to take place. You know, you can have a banner that says, "Hey, welcome," but people don't feel welcome because no one's taken the initiative to engage with someone. But once we have, as an individual, the mission to, I'm going to learn from that person, I want to share my experiences, then I think it's, naturally the environment becomes welcoming because I'm showing genuine interest. So that's what I was sharing.
Thank you. And I want to apologize because I had in my brain that this event was ending at 1 o'clock, not 1:30. So I apologize for, we can swing back to group number 4 if there's anything else, because I apologize for cutting that off earlier. And then I can go through it was very interesting hearing all the different feedback, because there was a lot of shared themes. So Agar, is there anything else for your group that I missed? And I apologize again.
Yeah. I want to add something that we discussed and I forgot. I think we also mentioned the fact that at the individual level, everyone can do something. Because we talk about putting a smile on our face, it starts there. So if everyone in the team or in any kind of organization does that thing, it will be easier for those who are using our service to feel that they are welcome. Because when you see someone smiling, it means that you are welcome at that place. Even if you don't receive the service that you want, at least the one thing that you have in your head, in your mind, is that you were welcome at that place and you feel like you can come back again. So we said that it's at the individual level, everyone should do an effort to put that smile on his face to welcome everyone who is using our service. Yeah. Thank you.
Did you have any other comments from in your team? Because I know the person to your left wanted to say something before.
No, she didn't. Thank you.
Okay.
We also mentioned something about logistics, meaning that if all the organizations who are providing a kind of service, we have to think about seniors, those who are coming to use the service. If we should provide a kind of accommodation, because they cannot stand for a long time, we need to think about the person who is not able to do that can have a seat somewhere. So thinking about our logistic when we are serving our community.
And I also wanted to add that we also discussed about the virtual space, right? Beyond the physical space, that one of the things we try to do is, and it's not mandated for everybody who works there, but like when we have a Facebook group, and usually when people post or put comments on them, we try and comment back and just interact with them virtually, because some people are more comfortable interacting online than one-on-one. And so that's one of the things that we do to try and at least be interactive online, where we can reach a different demographic.
I heard a lot of great ideas and a lot of great observations, and a couple words that stand out to me is being authentic with those first impressions. that first and foremost, smiling, not just smiling like when you go to a fast food service, hi, how can I help you? But a real genuine, hi, you're welcome here, and not, and then recognizing, your perspective on, okay, so if someone is looking down, it doesn't necessarily mean anything, and just be opening it and being aware of assumptions, and that accessibility was mentioned a lot, and that's just making everyone feel welcome, taking into account the diversity across the multimodal thing with age, gender, race, religion, everything in the background to make everyone feel welcome. And being aware of logistics. So if you're not an elder, it is sometimes hard to remember that some elders may not be able to walk very far or may not be able to stand for a long time. There are other folks with, quote, more invisible disabilities that maybe it's a younger person that suffers from a condition that also they cannot stand for a long time. And just making those spaces open and welcoming to everybody. I liked hearing about the collaboration, that we don't want to do a power struggle of, hey, we're the agency and we know everything to give to the people, but being boots on the ground and interacting and like, hey, what do you need? How can we help you? And developing those authentic connections and getting that consumer input. So more of a mentoring almost, that it's not contractual, but it is more of a give and take. And the buddy system, I like that buddy system of introducing more folks. Do y'all have any other thoughts or feedback? Any other words that speak to you listening to the other groups? Andrea, sorry.
That's okay. I'm used to people calling me Angie when I'm at MANA. No, it's an inside thing. I apologize. So actually, one of the things that Agar spoke about, and we actually spoke about as well, and I think everybody did, was the respect. That I think that is such an important piece. Meeting people where they are, but respecting people for who they are, and that everybody has something to give. And has a worth.
Jenna?
I know I'm just the IT. Maybe I shouldn't be.
We're all welcome.
Thank you. That was a very good example of what we've been talking about. I guess I just want to uplift the personal work that I think, at least myself as somebody who identifies as white and cisgendered, like I know some of the biases I have, and I don't know a lot of the biases that I have. So I love the authenticity. That authenticity keeps coming up, and I think in order to I guess break through some of those artificial barriers that separate us, I find that it's really important to continue to learn about my own biases, because I'm very likely, to be a perpetrator of an identity-related aggression, unknowingly or unintentionally. And I know that I, grew up with a particular perspective in a white dominant culture, and so continuing to look into that and how it manifests for me I feel like is an important part to allowing me to do all the external practices that were mentioned so far in this call.
No, that's a good point. And it's difficult to have those courageous conversations, to look at your own personal bias. And I think we've all come to a point where we said something out of habit, and then someone else pulls us aside and says, that's not a word we use anymore. Or, that may have been interpreted by someone else like this. And to have sorry, I'm blanking on the word, to be able to be amenable to that feedback is huge, because a lot of times when I'm working with, you know, a particular age group, and I'll say something and they're like, nah, and and I'm like, well, let's think about this some more. And, you know, it could be that there's different ways to look at it, and it could be there's still this blind spot, but it's like you don't know you have the blind spot if it's always there, you know, and so that takes some change and some willingness to be vulnerable, to say, hey, what can I improve? What do I need to do differently?
I just wanted to share one point, if I could. I forgot to mention it earlier, but in our group, I think, Satinga, it was you who brought up this really simple but powerful point about when you're working to create a welcoming space with, you know, lots of different types of people, having that common ground, but not stopping there. Because I think a lot of people will stop at, let's find what's in common and go on that. But Satinga really went on to say, and still celebrate differences. And I think that's the part that a lot of times we forget. And so, yeah, I thought that was a really great point that I just wanted to give her some credit for.
Yes, definitely. Any other thoughts before I turn it back over to Agar, who will do our closing and products for commitments? No, I appreciate everybody sharing. This is my first time moderating, so I hope you give me a little grace with running this group. So with no further ado, I'm going to turn it back over to Agar.
Thank you so much, Kathy. We are very grateful for all your work, and we always value our Break and Break attendees who are willing to do or take a role in Break and Break. So everyone who would like to do so, please reach out to me. I'll be very happy to have someone who can take a role in the upcoming sessions. Thank you so much, Kathy, for coming. So with all the information that we had in mind, I think it would be good now to make our commitment. We usually do that in all the meetings. What are we committed to do during this time and the next meeting? I will let everyone who would like to go first to share what you would like to do. What commitment are we taking right now till the next meeting? Because in the next meeting, you will report on that commitment. I'm making the commitment to always put the smile on my face.
Too bad about the mask, though, right?
But
smile with your eyes.
Yes, they can see your eyes.
Exactly. Yes, Yelva. Oh.
I will commit to making sure to address more people and say hello and try to smile with or without my mask as well.
Thank you, Andrea.
I'll commit to trying to be a better listener, because I always think that's such a valuable skill, to be a good listener, and appreciate it so much in other people when people genuinely listen and not listen to just speak or respond. And I also notice that I sometimes, especially with people that I'm closer with, can interrupt them. So I will work on trying to be a better listener.
Thank you, Priya. I'm smiling because I also always do the same with my kids. I don't take time to listen to them. So I'm making the commitment now that I will do that. Anyone else?
I am making the commitment to learn more about people in my community and relate to them in a better way. Smile more. I think I have my lips to my ear so they can know that I'm welcoming.
Yeah. Anyone else?
I'm going to commit to trying to stand up more to be an accomplice and to say something when something's wrong, because a lot of the time I'm afraid to say something. I'm afraid it's not my place. I'm afraid I'm, being a white this head person, that it's not my space to stand up for someone else. But I'm going to take a step forward, and if I'm not needed, then I will promptly step back. But I think not saying anything is worse.
Yeah, you have to raise your voice. Thank you. Anyone else?
To Jabordi's comment, I've been meaning to send an email to the person who represents our neighborhood association, because we moved into this neighborhood during COVID and there haven't been any neighborhood meetings because of the pandemic. But I've been meaning to gently request that we have some sort of virtual gathering so that I can get to know the people that I live around, that live around me. And I haven't done it yet. So I'm going to use this group as an accountability partner in doing that this week.
Yeah, thank you, Dana. The last person to say something about the commitment. But we
think that when is the next meeting? I can commit on something, but I'm not sure to be done the next meeting. When is the next meeting?
It will be the third Wednesday of the month. One month from the date one. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it'll be yeah.
And I hope we will still get in. Oh, sorry, I didn't hear that.
October 20th.
Yes, you'll all receive the invitation.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yes, hopefully we will receive the invitation. And I think my schedule is, I can say my schedule, I may not be there, but I will do my best. I will commit to kind of welcome more people into my, around me. I know that I have been so busy recently, and I have not been welcoming a lot of people in my space. So I commit to welcome more people into my space.
Thank you, Nada. So now we will move at the last point. I want to just share a quick update on the conversation I had with some of the Break and Break attendees. You know that we took a summer break, and we talked to some of the people who used to attend the Break and Break sessions about how we can improve this collective gathering, this kind of conversation. And we hear a lot of things, but one thing I want to flag here is that most of them would like to see a small group of people, like a steering committee, who is thinking in between the meetings, thinking about a very good topic of interest like this one, giving the direction so that when we gather like this, we know exactly what we want, and maybe we can put some of the goal that we would like to attain. And I would ask you, all the people who are in this meeting today, if anyone would like to be part of that small committee, I will be very happy. You can put your name in the chat, or you can just reach out to me so that we can start that adventure. You say it like that? Okay. Yeah. And the next meeting will be on October 20th. So I will be sending the invite out. And the other thing I want to say here is that please, every time that you have a good topic of interest because you are working in the community, let us know. We can have this kind of conversation because we need to hear from you in order to improve what we are doing. Sometimes we discuss during the breakout rooms that we have our culture of welcoming people, but we don't assume that everyone who is in the team is working based on that culture, because we know that people are rushing out of time. People are very busy. They have a lot to do. They want to do their work at the end of the day. And sometimes you can just respond very bad to people. So we need to hear from you. And every time that you have a topic, let us know, and we will have this kind of conversation and see how we can have some solutions. So with that, I will just say thank you for coming, and we were very, very happy to see you all, and hope to see you again in the next upcoming Breaking Bread. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Wonderful.
Kathy, bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Sitinga. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Renadan. Thank you, Jibodi. Thank you, Jenna.
It was wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Is here.